creativity was always in the family. It's something that I feel was in my life since childhood, with regards to perhaps painting, or my mother was very into making her own clothes. There was always fabrics around, there were always discussions about colours and shapes. And interior design was important. So I think it's always been there, it's never not been there, so there was never a question of introducing it into my life, or because it was just always there. Well, when I was a child, I think the first person that I was inspired by was Salvador Dali. I liked the way he played with objects, and yeah, basically, you know, sometimes there's sort of puzzles. It's almost sort of mathematical sometimes, some of his work. So I remember enjoying his particularly.
Mm-hmm. And have you always done art then? Did you go to school for art? I mean,
yeah, I did, yeah. Although I wanted to be a scientist. But I was encouraged by my teachers to go to art school, which I did, and then studied photography. I worked in the theatre as a costume designer for many years. I worked in advertising as a creative, writing commercials and adverts, and what else? And then I spent a period of doing non-creative work, which was interesting. I learnt a lot of things, but happy to leave that world and get back into art again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you found your way back. So, locally speaking, what do you feel that your art brings to Newcastle?
I think it brings originality. I think my work has often been compared or likened to a lot of work that comes out of the Netherlands, from Holland. It's quirky, it's idiosyncratic. It's not as safe as much of the work that is produced here. It's more questioning. So I think what I'm bringing is more of a kind of European slant to art that's around. Mm-hmm.
Great.
Is there anything that Newcastle kind of itself brings to your work then, or kind of looking beyond that?
No, I suppose what it does bring what I always like to do is to ask questions. I like to question the standard, and I find that the North East is very traditional, and so they're presenting me with a lot of the things, they're encouraging me to ask lots of questions as to why people retain the traditions and don't look for anything different. You know, there's so much more possibility in the world, and people tend to stick with tried and tested, even though it's not good. You know, they just stick with what's been around a long time, even though it's not doing them any favours to have it. I'm talking here a lot about design as well as art, you know, quite traditional. The work I want to do, I'd like to work more with architects and do more such specific work, or sort of batches of work for perhaps, you know, restaurants, so sort of, if it comes to doing a dinner service, or, you know, things like that. So I'd like contracts that sort of, for big projects that bring in a decent sort of amount of money. That's something I'm looking for, which I know a lot of artists claim they're not interested in, but I am. What else would I like to do? I've designed something which I think could make me a lot of money if I get the funding to help support it, and that's something else I want to work on. With regards to personally producing small batches of work and selling it, that to me isn't a good way of earning a living, and I don't particularly like making lots of the same thing. So that's something I've realised since setting up my business, which is good to know. I do like having contact with the public, and I enjoy things like the open studios, where we open the studios to the public and we meet them, and I get a chance to get feedback on my work, which is important to understand what people get out of it. But what I'm looking to do is I'm looking to get bigger contracts. Or for this work that I produce at the moment on my own, to get that contracted out and for either to sell the license or get a company.
So you get it made externally and
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah. So I'm sort of in talks at the moment for the stationery range with a Dutch company. The bit that really gives me the most buzz is to realise an idea. So when I get the idea, I normally draw it, and then to realise it, and then just to see what I had as an idea, as a drawing, and then the real thing is just fantastic to make things happen. It's almost like being a magician, you know, because sometimes the processes might not be instant. Like, for example, the chair took a while, but it's great to see that the drawing I made has just become a 3D reality.